And now we bring in Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief of The Hill, to talk more about all that. Good to see you, Bob. As Mola pointed out in the package, Harvey is really going to be the first major natural disaster during the Trump administration, and it happens, without a permanent Secretary of Homeland Security in place. So I guess, is the administration ready? How will we know? And, what will you be looking for as he tries to deal with this over the weekend?
Well, it's interesting, Brooke. I mean, you look at Trump's FEMA director and has already said, hey, this is also a local and state issue, not just a federal issue. And that's reminiscent of Hurricane Katrina and President George W. Bush's second term. So this is a big test for the Trump administration. And these things do become very political, especially if they're not handled well. So there'll be a lot of second guessing if they're not prepared. So Trump obviously is going to be closely monitoring it, but if it devolves into finger pointing, that could be a political problem for both the president and Texas legislators and governor.
We know that the president did send out a tweet about the storm along with a video of himself visiting FEMA headquarters from some days ago. He also tweeted this morning about, attacking his fellow Republicans. And he's in a new ad for Jeff Flake's primary challenger in Arizona. We do know that ad was actually sponsored by Ward for Senate, who is this primary challenger. But it does incorporate some of the president's comments from Phoenix earlier this week. What do you make of the president's strategy of attacking GOP leaders at this time?
Well, Roxana, it's very unusual. You really haven't seen it where a president will go after one of his own, especially in a primary. He hasn't officially endorsed Ward, but basically has with his criticisms of Flake. And Flake is going to be in a tough re-election if he were to survive the primary. He's the favorite in the primary to win because Ward also took on John McCain, and McCain easily beat her in a primary. So, but this is highly unusual, and it's just confounding Republicans in Washington. Republicans want to have a big election, especially in the Senate. The map is actually very Republican-friendly in 2018 in the midterms. A lot of Democrats running from red states, states that Trump won. But right now, the landscape is not looking good for Republicans, so they may not be able to take advantage of that. But, a party that is divided is usually not doing well, and the Democrats are unified, don't have a lot of power in Washington, but Republicans are very fractured.
A divided party, even if they have control of all the branches of government, also have trouble passing things. We've seen that so far. But let's put on our optimist hat for a second. Let's say the Republicans get some big stuff passed in the next few months. Tell me how that happens.
I think the biggest thing that they could get done, I mean, they're going to have to fund the government and raise the debt ceiling. Those are going to be ugly fights and one that divides the Republican Party.
And are you confident it'll get done?
I think that raising the debt ceiling, yes, I believe so. I think the chances of a government shutdown are high and actually over 50-50 right now because of the wall funding. I don't think Trump wants to mess with the debt ceiling. That spooks the markets, and Trump is big on the markets and repeatedly notes that stock market's way up since he was elected in November. But do I think they can get tax cuts done? Yes, I do. I think they can. That's the one thing that unifies Republicans. I don't think they're going to reform the entire tax code as they've been promising. That hasn't been done since 1986. But cutting taxes, yeah, I think they can get that done, but it's not going to be easy.
One person who has been a proponent of the president's tax plan is Gary Cohn, his top economic advisor, and he released a statement saying that the administration has to do better. Stock markets will probably rejoice at this, but what do you make of his comments? And they were in reaction to the president's response to the violence in Charlottesville.
Yeah, a lot of chatter about Cohn and whether he offered to resign in the wake of what the president and how the president handled the violence in Charlottesville. So I think overall it's going to be something where the White House has to be disciplined, and they have not been disciplined. Trump has not been disciplined. That's why they didn't get health care done, and they didn't have much of a message. So Trump is going to have to be on message, talk about tax cuts, use the bully pulpit effectively. And also, I think he's got to put this feud with Majority Leader Mitch McConnell behind him. Remember, McConnell's wife works for Trump. She's the transportation secretary. So I think they've got to bury the hatchet.
Okay, Bob Cusack from Washington, thanks a lot for the insight.
Thank you.